This kid is trouble. Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So, that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 6 of the Darwin incident. And last episode, Charlie's out. He's free again. He doesn't have to worry about any of that other bullshit. But we now have him trying to make friends at school with Lucy's help. And although there is a little tension, it does eventually lead to those two girls we saw before ending up befriending Lucy and Charlie. And then we see that other kid, the hooded kid we had seen prior, who made it clear he was on the side of the ALA. And we see at the very end of last episode, he's started doing a silent protest until people start coming after him, and he starts speaking up, and it's like, this is not going to end well. The vibes this gives me, just right off bat, are not great. And not necessarily because of of what he's protesting, or just his just his clearly growing frustration over the way he's being treated for it, but it is the fact that he's seemingly almost idolizing the ALA, that he seems to see them not as the, horrific, evil terrorist organization they are, but as a, good thing, as something and someone who is needed for today's climate. This leads me to believe that he is going to take extreme measures. And I think I said it last time. If not, I at least was thinking it, but I think I verbalized it as well. But, if he's truly idolizing the ALA, I could see him trying to mimic their methods, which could involve a bomb threat, could involve a school shooting, could involve a number of things. And this is the type of series that would go there. There are some shows you could watch where you would say, oh, this show wouldn't go that far. This show, wouldn't actually tackle that kind of thing. But this is a series I think absolutely would. The amount, I've talked about this before. You may look at this series from the outside and think, oh, this looks silly. But you actually watch the series and it's extremely serious. It has some humor to it to a degree, but it's extremely serious in its subject matter and its topics of discussion. It's it's all about kind of like sending these kinds of messages, and it's specifically about, the kind of stuff that happens in America. Hence why it's set in Missouri. Because you have all of this stuff going on with these animal rights groups and in America, you have all these kinds of rights groups and stuff that are, you know, not great. You have a lot that are. You have a lot that do genuine good and, progress things in the right way. I would even say most of them are. But then you have rights groups that are like, extremists. They go too far. And you see this a lot of times in America more often than anywhere else. Because, especially because America is so crazy about violence and guns and shit. It's really fucked up on so many scales. And it's not something that we as ordinary people can just solve. Like a lot of people try to say like, oh, you can solve this by voting. It's like it's not going to help when there's just as many, or at least nearly just as many people on the other side. Because you got to remember, some of the people who are on the more progressive side don't even vote because they don't feel it's like making any difference, especially in recent years. So there's going to be a lot of people who just don't think that they're going to have a chance and aren't going to like take the effort, and that hurts the cause as well. And then there's some people who, you know, just there's some people as well who vote in the middle of the road, who vote like independent or neutrally, and that doesn't help. That's basically just it's just giving free votes pretty much to the opposition. Because the people who are voting centrist and whatnot are the people who are more progressive, but don't want to vote for the progressive candidate because of one thing or another. And it's just like there's just all kinds of issues and voting just isn't enough to solve all of them, especially issues like this. Now, here in America, we have like groups like PETA who are not quite this extreme, but are kind of a terrible rights group. Um, PETA's sick. They're just atrociously bad, but they're not like a terrorist group. But then you have the likes of ICE, who are a terrorist group and are just able to get away with it. So it just depends on a lot of different factors for this, and it's horrific. It's absolutely horrific, the kind of stuff that we see here, especially when it is like pretending to be something good. And that's what the ALA is in this series. They're a terrorist group who are using the guise of an animal rights group to excuse their violent actions. I've said this before in previous episodes. I'm not saying that they don't care at all about animal rights. I genuinely think they do. Especially a lot of the lower members who are, manipulated into this. But I also believe that while they do to some degree care about animals, that's not their actual main focus. That they're using this as an excuse. People even if they don't even realize it, people like this, who are this extreme, are not doing this because of the campaign they're championing. They don't do this because of rights, because this isn't how you get that across. And this isn't the same as like protesting or whatnot. Because again, when you're excusing collateral damage, or you're excusing, murdering women, children, innocent people in general, no matter what their gender or age or whatnot, under the guise of collateral damage, it's like there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse to bomb a place. That's not going to get your message across, and that's not going to make people listen to you. It's actually going to do the opposite. It's going to turn people against you, which is what we see happening in this series. The ALA is, looked at as the bad guys, as terrorists, because that's what they are. But they've basically said that their ideology is like they've got to like wake people up with a slap to the face and shit. And it's like that's not how this works. People aren't going to believe in your cause if this is how you're presenting it. So, yeah. It's just this kid who's, again, clearly for the ALA's cause. I just feel he's very dangerous, especially if pushed too far. And we've seen how these bullies, I'm trying to remember their name. I can't remember their names. But these two bullies, we see how they consistently cause all this trouble. One more than the other, but both of them still. And it's just, it's going to lead somewhere bad. It's going to lead somewhere bad. I'm just very tense about how they're going to portray this. Because again, this show will go there. So I guess at this point we'll just have to see and hope for the best. Hope no one like gets hurt or dies. I don't expect like any main or major characters to die or anything, but I wouldn't want anyone to die. It would be ideal if there were no casualties here. But yeah, I guess we'll see. That all being said, let's just get into this and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. Welcome to the Afterthoughts. We'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. There's the warning, and I was even prepared for this. It gave a warning at the start of the episode before the opening, and I was already figuring this could happen, but I was also hoping that I was wrong. I was hoping it wouldn't go this far. And the thing is, it wouldn't have. I said this during the reaction. It would not have gone this far if it weren't for the ALA getting involved and radicalizing him. Gare was absolutely not like the kind of person who would have done anything prior. He's not the kind of person who would who would actually take direct action, as the episode is titled. He's someone who will protest, but would never like go too far. He has his stream, his channel, whatever, but that's about like the extent of his action. And that alone is fine. Even if it's something like you vehemently disagree with, it's like people are allowed to express that opinion. Um, they're allowed to express that opinion through the things they say, whether online or in person or in writing, freedom of speech and all that. But when you take actions like this, it goes beyond that. It's obviously not about freedom of speech. And again, this isn't at this point about the message anymore. Because the message of animal rights in no way like warrants this kind of response. And I think those at the ALA, especially the leader, know that. They're doing this as a way, again, it's a scapegoat, an excuse to use for their desire for violence. These are sick, like mentally disturbed individuals who champion a cause they don't 100% believe in because it allows them to go that extra step. And they in turn radicalize others who are at a point generally trying to fight for animal rights. They radicalize them because they're already susceptible to this kind of manipulation. They radicalize them into being those who go out there and take these actions, attack and kill people and bomb buildings and shit, because it's allowing them to continue their campaign, as twisted and, corrupt as it is. And the radicalized, the grunts basically, are the ones who are the most actual, like, invested in these beliefs. And they're made to believe by those who aren't that this is the only way to achieve their goals. We literally see that is how Rivera, I think his name is. His real name, Max, was a cover name, obviously. We even see that that's what he does to Gare. Because again, Gare wasn't like this. He wouldn't go this far. But like, they make the comparisons to slaves and civil rights, even though it's not relatable at all. It's horrifically terrible to even try to compare that. But they make those comparisons to try and gain sympathy from him, especially because, the guy who's saying this is a black guy. He's specifically using these comparisons to draw sympathy from Gare. And then they happen to be in a diner where the guy who owns and runs it is also super racist. I bet your ass that they knew that. I bet your ass they knew that this guy was racist before they went in there. And they specifically went to this location for the purpose of radicalizing Gare. This entire thing was a setup. Even something like that was a setup, because then they knew that they would have what could be justified as, reasonable cause to then kidnap, attack, and kill this guy. And specifically have, Gare be the one to do it. And this radicalized him into like being able to commit this horrific school shooting at the end. Like, Jesus fuck. I like I said, I've seen a lot of violence in movies, shows, games. I watch a lot of horror on this channel, even, including the likes of the Terrifier films, which are excessively hyper violent. But the difference between something like that and this is when you watch the Terrifier films, you know what you're going into them for. And it's so over the top that it's done in a way that it's ridiculous. It has a certain level of silliness and humor to the kills, and especially with the character of Art the Clown, that it's very clearly you're not supposed to take it seriously. This episode of this series is very much the opposite. Like I've been saying, this show is extremely serious. It's extremely um like focused on being a thematic, like powerful messaging show, to where it's like, again, there might be a little bit of humor here and there, but it's mostly very, very intensely like straightforward in how it's presented. And it tries to be also very realistic about a lot of culture, a lot of American like ideologies and beliefs, and the way things with this, again, with the ALA, the terrorist group, are being handled. Um, Different people, like the bullying, the showcasing of um, various differences in beliefs and all, the attacks that have happened and stuff so far, prior to this, I mean. It's just like, it's all handled in a very realistic sense. Because despite, the idea of the Human Z being a little more out there, it's trying to make this clear that this is, trying to teach us something through realism, through like general authenticity, in a way that a lot of anime don't. A lot of anime go, even when they're trying to send a message, go for a more fantastical point of view. There are anime that go more like hyper realistic like this, but this is one of those that I feel like is one of the more realistic portrayals of this kind of stuff I've seen in just any animated series. And the school shooting sequence was so chilling, so upsetting. I wasn't speaking pretty much at the end there, because I was like, even though I knew it was going to happen, and even though it's like we saw him coming in, so it's not like it just started very suddenly and abruptly, it still shocked me to a degree that it was like, again, it felt so real. So, and maybe it's because like here in America we have school shootings like so often that it's become so like consistently in your mind. But like this really bothered me. Like it's bothered me in the in previous episodes where we like saw like the little girl and the shop explode and everything when she went to go get her mother's hat and all. And it's like that kind of stuff bothered me as well, but this is like, again, because of how like real and intense and horrifying like this is, just as a concept. And and how, like, unfortunately and horrifically common these events are in real life America. You almost think you become numb to it until you see a scene like this and it shakes you in a horrific way and makes you like I'm physically, I don't know if you could see it on screen. I genuinely don't know if you could see it on screen, but I am physically shaking right now. I am so genuinely upset because it's like these are all children, you got to keep in mind, who are being like violently and horrifically, and like it's not, it's not censoring the horror of this, and it's like showing them be horrifically killed, and you're seeing like those who are still barely alive, like struggling and begging for help, and like so scared about dying, and it's just all while Rivera like gives this speech to Gare about like how Charlie doesn't really care, how it's instinct, how it's just this like instinctual desire to minimize damage rather than actually protect people, rather than actually like, um help out of a moral obligation or ideology or whatnot. But we also know Charlie's been changing, that Charlie's been growing as a person. We know that's like a big part of this series because of Lucy and their friendship. And we also know that, like, from the incident at the house when they tried to invade and, kill Lucy and the parents, we know that Charlie does have, like, emotion towards that kind of stuff because we saw how, like, protective and, like, everything he got when he, like, ran to the stairs and called out for his parents and all. It's definitely, I think that they're going to be surprised by how Charlie reacts to this. We only saw a little glimpse of him running through the halls and then seeing that hallway of the dead and dying again, begging for help and stuff. But I think this is, I think this is going to come around to the entire um, discussion he was having with the bully in episode 1. It's like where he was like, where the bully was like, if you if you came across a mouse that's carrying a deadly disease, would you kill it to save people, or would you let it bite you or whatever because the mouse's life matters too? And Charlie was like, I'd shoot it dead. And he said even to the bully, it's like, and if you were carrying that disease, I'd probably shoot you too. I think it's going to come to that. I think Charlie is a lot more moral than Rivera thinks he is, and I think Charlie's going to. I think he's going to kill Gare in order to save others, and especially Lucy. I think he's going to kill Gare. As much as he probably wouldn't want to, as much as he probably does try to minimize damage and pain and everything. The only problem is this is not going to help, like, with the public's perception, especially the police's perception of Charlie. Like, if he does kill Gare, like, the police are going to go after him again, and it's like they can't rely on this congresswoman to save them, to like bail this out again. It's just like I'm worried. Like, the only thing is, like, people would obviously protest for Charlie because of, him stopping from any more lives being taken. But I don't know if it would. I'm just worried. And I'm trying really, really hard to keep it together right now because I am, like, on the verge of having a breakdown. And the worst part about it is that this episode was so well executed. Um, maybe I should not use that word actually. Oh, Jesus fuck. It was so well made. It was so well done. That it's like you're almost kind of impressed. You're almost kind of like wowed by how well this is done, but at the same time, it's so horrific that that kind of overtakes you. At least for me, like I'm physically shaking right now, and I don't know if it's notable on camera at all. I don't know if you can see it because a lot of times like I don't think it picks up that well. Um, I assume you can hear it in my voice because I feel like I sound very like upset right now. Um, but it's like I'm also like a very biased source. I like, of course, I feel like I'm more upset because I know I'm upset. So I don't know how you guys are reading that from me. Um, um, I just I just really had a hard time with that. And this episode just it went there like and then some. Like I was saying that this is the kind of show that would go there. That this is the kind of show that absolutely would make that move and go that far because it's again this is the kind of show that is all about its thematics and like what it's trying to say. But it's like it's one thing anticipating it and it's another actually seeing it in action. And it's the worst part is because of how he had been radicalized. Like you see that Gare isn't even like hesitating about it. He's not even like unsure or upset by what he's doing. And the thing is, this serves no purpose. You have to realize that too. Nothing about this serves any purpose towards animal rights or the ALA's purported ideals. This is completely like just violence for the sake of violence. I know the goal here is to get Charlie, but it's like there's literally no reason to commit a mass school shooting to do that. To even try to do that. It's it's not it's not a logical idea to believe that this is being done for the sake of animals. If that wasn't clear prior to now, it very much is now. Like, it is absolutely a scapegoat. They are just psychotic people doing this for an excuse to enact violence. Again, especially Rivera. I mean, the others may believe in these ideals a lot more. But Rivera, I honestly, if you told me Rivera, like, ate a steak every night for dinner, I would believe you. Like, I genuinely don't think he believes in these ideals much at all. He is a psychopath and is using this so he can be a psychopath. And I think a very telling moment of the episode was also where you saw them at the diner and they didn't even eat any of the carrots that they had. They were just talking and like they didn't even eat any of the carrots despite, being vegan and everything. They didn't eat any meat or any animal products or anything, but they didn't eat the carrots either. And I feel like that's kind of telling. Like it's like, oh, you're going to sit there with a plate of carrots as if you're trying to posture, but you're not actually going to eat them. You're not going to do anything about it. You just have them like to make a visual statement without actually engaging in it. And it's just like that's very much what Rivera feels like to me. Someone who's making statements he doesn't believe in or engage with himself, again, in order to be a psychopath, in order to hurt and kill people. The others you could make arguments for one way or the other. The one guy, he was a former soldier, right? He was a former soldier who has these beliefs about like veganism and animal rights, and because of his life as a soldier, he was probably very easily manipulated through that, through the idea of like this being a war, quote unquote, and them having to fight like he has in like actual war and stuff. And it's just like this guy Rivera is also just such a master manipulator, like genuinely a master manipulator. I don't use that term lightly here. Like he is so good at it. And it's just it's horrific. I was saying like prior to the school shooting scene, the scariest part of that like wasn't even like Gare killing the racist truck stop owner guy. It was the ideologies that Rivera was spouting to him, leading into him killing him. And I still stand by that that's one of the scariest parts of this episode for sure, but the actual like sequence of the school shooting was so like numbingly horrific. It really got to me in a way that I honestly wasn't expecting. I genuinely thought that because I was prepared for this that I would be okay. I was not okay. I am not okay. And it's a very good thing that the day I'm recording this is the only thing I'm recording for reactions, because like I don't know if I would be able to record anything else after this. At least not without a good long break to center myself again. All of this being said, though, there is a right and wrong side to these kinds of arguments, to these kinds of ideologies. And if anyone watching this series, not necessarily watching these reactions, but watching this series, would even dare to like give any kind of like would dare to side with the ALA in any kind of way, to any degree, it's like those are people you need to get far away from quick, because there is no cause to side with them, especially after this episode, but even prior, there is no cause to side with them, and no reason to even see them as doing any sort of good. If you see them in any way, shape, or form as like justified in any action they've taken, then honestly, fuck off. If you're watching this and you in any way, shape, or form, to any degree, side with them. And I'm not saying like, oh, you're a vegan or you believe in animal rights or something. That's because again, that's not what they're about. It's if you're into that kind of stuff, that's fine. Because again, Charlie's vegan too. Charlie's parents believe in animal rights too. That's not the point. If you in any way would even begin to justify any of the ALA's actions here, I don't want you on my channel, and you can fuck off. And seek professional help. Because you are dangerous, and you are fucked in the head. So that being said, um, I think I need to end this here. Like, I don't really have much of anything else to say anyway, but I think I need to end this here because I need to, like, I need to do something to calm myself down because again, I don't know if you're seeing anything, but I still feel like I'm shaking. I still am not okay in any way. I need to recenter myself or I might throw up or have a panic attack. So, and I'm being completely serious, by the way. I am being very serious about that. I am like, I feel like I could throw up at any moment. I feel like I feel like I'm in the verge of having a panic attack. I thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you next time.